You are not alone. Those forewords could be one of the most important forewords in business today. Being an entrepreneur, it could be one of the loneliest things you'll ever experience. And I think that's why a lot of people don't go for it. Because they realize that it's just me. And they feel that there's no one to talk to and that they have all the issues. In extension, it's probably one of the biggest issues today in our society. We have these things, right, that are supposed to make us more connected than we've ever been in the world. The problem is we're more disconnected because everyone's like this, right? Mm-hmm. And the result of that, on a grander scale than just business, more depression, more anxiety, more fear, more suicide, more people unwilling to take that jump because they're so disconnected, because they're more alone than they have been in their entire life. So if we bring it back to business, when you're starting out and doing something, whether it be in real estate or whether you're working for a company and you want to go out on your own, it's the loneliest feeling in the world. And what people are craving for is connection, more so than anything. That's why I believe the greatest commodity of our next decade is not going to be big data. It's going to be relationships. Because the more we go further and further away from relationships towards technology and AI taking over and taking us further away from personal connection, the more personal connection is going to be lacking and needed. So that if you're someone who's able to connect deeply with someone on a personal level, you're going to be the commodity. Because the tech is going to be easy for anyone to have. It's going to be scalable at such a height that everyone will have availability to it. So they'll be very difficult to differentiate on the tech side, which is ironic because for the last 20 years or 25 years, how you differentiated was because of tech. I have tech, or I have an app, or I have something that the other company doesn't have. Mm-hmm. Well, now, if you heard of Moore's Law, it's when tech is doubling itself every 18 months. So think about that for a second. It's like how the amount of storage a chip can hold gets smaller by half, right? And at the same time, the size gets smaller, but the amount it can hold gets bigger, right? So Moore's Law is doubling technology every 18 months. And it's supposed to stop. The experts are saying it stops in 2023 or 2024, but there's really nowhere else to go. So what's left? What's left now when you can go online to get your food delivered to you, go online to shop, go online to get everything done without even leaving the house, right? You can get a date. She'll come to your house, right?
Yeah.
Real estate is going in that direction. Businesses are going in that direction. If you're an attorney, there's LegalZoom, right? Even the doctors now are all coming, you're able to FaceTime. Now, I'm not saying I'm against technology. I'm all for it. I think it's one of the best things that's ever happened to our society. I just think it needs to be reprioritized. It has to start with relationships first, with as the foundation, with help and scalability with technology. But if we don't have this relationship first, you're still all alone, right? Mm-hmm. Because we could have an online relationship where you watch videos and you feel connected to me, but it's a one-way conversation. There's no texture. There's no touch. And even Fortune 500 companies, what they're doing now is they're sending their executives overseas to meet people, even if it's just for an hour or two, to develop that first touch, that handshake, that bow, that presentation of the business card. And then you can use technology to base off of it. So why am I focusing so much on you're not alone? It's because people more so than ever want to be a part of something because they're not a part of anything. And they want to believe in something. And they want to feel like, am I the only one? They don't want to feel like, am I the only one who thinks this way? Are these thoughts in my head just me? Am I the broken one? You know, and that's when conversation and communication, the more people you talk to and the more vulnerable and honest conversations you have and the more connection you have, you realize that everyone is like me. Everyone's experiencing the same fears, the same struggles, the same questions that I'm having. I mean, you think about it. I had a situation, a friend was having marital problems. And he calls me and he's like, Dave, I just want what you have with Angie. And I'm like, all right, well, tell me what's going on in your relationship. And he's like, you know, we don't connect as much because we have kids and we both have businesses. And it's just the amount of time we have together. And he went through like 5 issues. And I said to him, you got to be kidding me. He's like, what? I'm like, I have the exact same issues in my marriage. He's like, man, I just thought it was me. But just the fact that he was able to talk to someone, be vulnerable, have a conversation of here are the issues I have, and for me to be like, everyone has those issues, including me, took so much pressure off of his marriage. Because it went from, this is just me, this is a problem in my marriage, we're the only ones that have this issue, maybe we should do something about it, to, wait a minute, this is normal, this is expected, these are the bumps and the obstacles that are supposed to happen at this point in my relationship, when I have kids, when I have businesses, and the same exact issues, different perspectives. And that perspective is just that little shift, right? That 3 millimeter shift we talk about all the time. Tiny. Everyone thinks it's this big shift we need to make. A 3 millimeter shift in his perspective went from maybe I should get a divorce to, everyone has these issues. This is fixable. We can work on it. I love my wife. I love my kids. This is fine. 2 very different outcomes. Just on, I'm alone. It's only us. To, wait a minute. Everyone goes through this. And this is what happens in business all the time. Especially in real estate, especially with entrepreneurs. Listen, when you take care of your own schedule, your own work, I mean, you know this now. Mm-hmm. It's easy to give yourself a break, right? I mean, I hate to be so aggressive, but being an entrepreneur, you're either going to take the easy way out and just not be an entrepreneur anymore, or you got a gun to your head. Like, you perform, you succeed, you do the work, or you die. That's being an entrepreneur. Literally with a gun to your head 24 hours a day. Well, a lot of people go into the abyss. They go onto the island, right? Man on the Island. You probably don't know about the song, but there's a old Simon and Garfunkel song, Man on an Island. And that's the way people feel in business and in life. Like it's just me on an island. When really it's everyone on the island with them. So that's why one of the first things I always teach with my agents, with my clients, is you're not alone. Your issues are everyone's issues. Now, we like to feel special and unique, even in our issues. Oh, no, you don't understand, Dave. My issues are much bigger issues than everyone else. And there may be a small, tiny, like less than 1% situation where, guess what? You have a special issue. But even then, I'm telling you, your issues are not unique and you're not alone. And the quicker you find that out, the less pressure you'll have, the less time you'll spend beating yourself up, and the more of a chance and an opportunity you'll have for success, because that's one less thing you have to worry about. Not to mention, being around people that have similar issues, you'll learn of ways to combat these issues, which is the whole benefit of having a coach, having a community, having a network, having a mastermind. It's for the ideas, for the, oh, I've been through that. But even more so, it's almost like just having people there to be like, I'm hearing you. And when people say, I hear you, what are they really saying? You're not alone. So this kind of hit home for me, especially today, because in one day, in just the morning, I was talking to my painter, who's a good friend of mine, and we're just having this quick conversation. And he literally looked in my eyes and he's like, it's just nice knowing I'm not alone. And I'm like, this is not a coincidence that he's saying this to me. And I said, you just hit the nail on the head. That is the key. I mean, the guy has a small business, paints houses, right?
Yeah.
You don't think maybe it's alone. And then I had a situation where I had a call where someone's going through some really horrible anxiety and having some really dark thoughts. And I started thinking about all the pressures and all these feelings of society, if you want to take it as deep and dark as we can, all the way to people doing harmful things to themselves. It all stems from if they're part of a community, if they're having deep, vulnerable conversations with people, things like that are less likely to happen. People just want to connect. Well, in a more positive way, this is the secret to everything, is connection. So if you take that potential issue of people feel alone and disconnected to how could I add that into their lives? How could I connect to them? That is the win for everyone. Because then now I'm looking at, this is what I teach my clients too and my agents, if you're adding value and connecting to people, you're doing something that you're filling a void that isn't filled. And that is going to set you apart at a completely another level. And what's nice is even if you're not receiving anything in return, which is because it's not just a cliche, you should literally be connecting with people because you care, not because you want something. Getting something back is just a byproduct of it. But you're changing people's lives. And I know it sounds like super pie in the sky, like, what's your mission statement? Well, we change people's lives. That's kind of very idealistic. But if you think about how one person's comment can change your whole day. I mean, really think about that. You get a text from someone's like, I'm thinking about you today. I'm proud of you. I really like it. I see what you're doing. Or a pretty girl smiles at you. I mean, these things, someone holds the door for you. These are little things that if you compound them, they add up to something that it gets extrapolated beyond belief. And if you really do this in business and you take care of people and make them feel like they're not alone and bring them in, it's a game changer. So that's why the number one thing always I tell my people, and I do it myself, is connect and let people know that they're not alone.